Welcome back to the Difference Engine podcast. I'm your host, Caleb Oates. Going to talk about something a bit controversial today, the difference between being busy and productive. And it's not so much that people debate the controversial tokens or locks or things like that on your phone. I know for iPhones, there's a button you can make it so 3 clicks on the side will turn your screen gray scale. And so I'll tell you what, looking at a gray iPhone display is not super fun. So it's a pretty easy way if you're working that you can make it so that it's not enjoyable. And that's one way. If you ever read Atomic Habits, if you make easy habits that you don't want to do anymore as in negative habits or habits you want to stop, the harder you make them, the better you are. And you can kind of curate your environment to avoid those things. So an easy way to do that would be to turn your phone grayscale or set it on the other side of the room, turn it to do not disturb, and only let certain people be able to text you at certain times. In the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, he actually talks about this exact thing. It's one of the key tenets of the book, which is how to compound time specifically. So he owned a struggling real estate brokerage, and I highly recommend you do at least this first half of what he did, which is write down on a piece of paper the top 5 or 8 or 10 things that make you the most money. And honestly, it's probably only 4 or 5. I think that's what he came up with. And he went to his office, started going to his office with these things that in his head, probably written down on his desk somewhere, and timed himself with this stopwatch that he wore around his neck. And he found in the beginning, he was doing less than an hour a day of the highest yielding money-making activity he could possibly do. And by the time his experiment was over, he was doing, I think, over 5 hours, maybe 6 hours a day in an 8-hour workday of the behaviors that he wanted to see that paid him the most. And he was number 1 in the nation in his brokerage. We kid ourselves with the idea that we work 8 hours a day. That's assuming no breaks whatsoever. Bathroom, food, talking to people, coffee, distractions. Probably most people working an 8-hour day are actually productive for 4 or 5. And if you don't believe me, you should walk around and time audit yourself if you're brave enough. Take a small notebook or a note on your phone and clock yourself. Actually audit your own time. See, what happens with this busy productive dichotomy is that people are just unaware. Like, we're just unaware of what we're doing as business owners. We're unaware in our personal life as well. Awareness cures 90% of it. In the same way, like if you get a personal trainer, one of the first things they do is tell you to track your calories on paper or with an app. And without even going on a diet, people lose weight just by tracking calories because it makes them aware of what they're eating. Most people probably aren't aware of the top 2 or 3 or 4 things that pay them the most in their business. Like, what behaviors specifically? Marketing doesn't necessarily get you paid. Marketing gets leads for you. If conversion rate's not good, though, then sales training is one of the highest leverage things you can do. And people, the busy side of it is like people get really excited about their logo. They get really excited about fixing their website. They might enjoy meeting, multiple different friends for coffee. If you audit your own time, though, especially at the end of a week or the end of a month, and ask yourself, hey, out of this one segment of my business, all the coffee meetings I had this week, better yet a month, let's do a month. I had 8 coffee meetings this month, 2 a week. And out of those 8 coffee meetings, 1 of them yielded a referral for me. So that's 1 out of 8, not great odds. So then the adjustment on that is, do I need to approach my coffee meetings differently? Do I need to meet with different people? Do I need to say something different during them? Or do I need to pivot off those and only do 4 or 3 next month and reallocate that 7 or 8 hours somewhere else? Because you have to factor in, like, be honest with yourself. The drive time, potentially parking depending on where you live, sitting down for the meeting, getting your coffee. If you're one of the people who is slow to wrap up meetings, what kind of time does that eat into? We kid ourselves. I know I've been in seasons where I kid myself, where I can have a 9-hour workday. And if I go back and audit it and ask myself, what was the highest producing most effective use of my time, it's usually not the thing that I paid most attention to. It's usually something that I did for an hour and got a lot of lift from, and then filled it with a bunch of mediocre stuff around it, a bunch of pseudo busy work. So the difference between busy and productive usually is knowing those 3 or 4 things that give your business the most lift. Without knowing those, it's a guessing game. And here's a tip. You have to know mathematically what those things are. Humans are really bad at guessing stats. Humans are scientifically very not good at projecting their own stats based off their emotions. And a quick book rec too, if you want more on this, Essentialism is a great book recommendation. I give this advice out mainly because I hear a lot of business owners who are genuinely busy. I'm not taking away from the fact that, like, even to be productive, you might be working 11 hours in a day. The admin work doesn't go away, although I heard this quote recently and I do believe it. You either have a VA or you are the VA. And fill VA in here with anything else like secretary, office admin, executive assistant, whatever the case is that you need for your business. So there are people who are genuinely working 11 or 12 hours a day and completely swamped. But if you are the owner of the business, it is incumbent upon you to hire and delegate those things out, because that is not sustainable, and it will invariably take a toll on you and your relationships and your sanity and your body. I just had 2 of my clients do this exercise where they trimmed their calendar to 40 hours a week. I didn't say they had to do only 40 hours, but I wanted to visually see, hey, if I know you're doing all these things, but if you cut it down to 40 hours a week, and these are the things that are most important to you, what's left? Because that is a really, really important key factor on the scavenger hunt of how do I protect my time as a business owner. So if you have any questions on this, feel free to DM me. Always open to take questions. My handle is the difference engine with underscores in between it on every single platform. Feel free to reach out, talk about this or anything else you have going on right now. Have a great one.